lesson 20, the next part of Nadi, Sodhana, Pranayama, described in the Hatha Yoga Pratipika, chapter 2, Sutra 8. Taking energy in through the pingala, the interior should be slowly filled with energy. Performing kumbhaka as prescribed, it should then be released through ida. First, I want to draw your attention to the confusion that Svatmarama is trying to cause. Because when he described the first part, he told you to let energy in through the moon and to let it out through the sun. Now he tells you to let energy in through pingala and then release it through ida. Do you understand what it means? You probably don't. He's creating confusion. If you don't have guidance to learn this, you will not be able to extract an exercise from this text. You will not be able to understand what he is conveying. The sun and the moon, ida and pingala, are related to each other, remember? Chandrabindu, the moon gate, is at the top. They say it's approximately 15 centimeters above the head. Through Chandrabindu, Shiva energy comes in, Shakti energy goes out. At the bottom, you have Surya Bindu. Through Surya Bindu, Shakti energy comes in, Shiva energy goes out. The energy channels through which Shiva and Shakti flow are ida and pingala. So the energy channel through which Shiva comes in and goes to the bottom, that is ida. While Shakti rises up, comes in through the sun gate and rises up through pingala. If you know this, then the text makes sense. But for most people, the text is purely confusing because he uses different concepts that are actually referring to the same idea. Only the initiated yoga practitioner understands that when he refers to the moon, it's the energy gate at the top and the sun at the bottom. And when he refers to ida, that's the channel that is responsible for Shiva, and referring to pingala, responsible for Shakti. It comes down to the same. Taking in energy through the pingala, kumbhaka, and then release through ida. Energy in through pingala, which energy is that? Shakti. Shakti in, energy through the pingala. Shakti inflow, counting to 12. Kumbhaka is the retention. counting to 48. Then Svatmarama says, let energy out through the Pingala, which is Shiva energy. Shiva energy can only exit through Surya Bindu. So this is the first cycle of Nadi Sodhana Pranayama. There are 2 cycles. Shakti in, Shiva out. Count to 24 and finish with a Kumbhaka this cycle. That is what is described in Sutra 8. Sutra 9 says, energy should be drawn in by the same entrance through which release was made. Then, having retained the energy to the utmost, it should be released by the other, slowly and never fast. You should let energy in through which you have last let energy out. Which was that?
Shiva.
Yes. Shiva in. With Sutra 9 he creates even more confusion. Huh? It's very difficult to understand. It should then be released by the other, Shakti. Shiva in, counting to 12, Kumbhaka, 48, Shakti out. (24) and another Kumbhaka, 48. Start with Shakti in, Shiva out. First cycle. Both activities, just to keep it simple or to make it simple, both activities are at the bottom. Surya Bindu. Energy in, energy out. Do not get lost in thinking, oh my God, is this Shiva or Shakti? Because there is a natural law. If energy goes in through the bottom, it can only be Shakti, so no confusion necessary. And if you let energy out, it can only be Shiva. So you really don't have to worry about whether it's Shiva or Shakti. So energy in, Shakti, Kumbhaka counting to 48, energy out, Shiva, counting to 24, followed by Kumbhaka 48. That is the first cycle. Second cycle, to keep it simple, both activities are above the head. Energy in, energy out. Shiva in, because Shiva comes in through the top. Shiva in, counting to 12. Kumbhaka 48. Shakti out, because Shakti can only go out through the top. Counting to 24. And a final Kumbhaka, 48. Nadi Sodhana Pranayama, Nadi, energy channels, purification. Purification of the energy channels. Before you learn those specific exercises that change your condition. either more tamas or more rajas. The interesting part of Nadi Sodhana Pranayama, after all those years, I still like this exercise very much. Why? Because the end result is very sattvic. First, you increase Shakti, because you let Shakti in, but you decrease Shiva, so you create a Shakti condition, a Rajas condition, which, if you pay attention, causes mental restlessness. But then you add Shiva and you release Shakti. So first you increase Shakti, then you decrease Shakti, and you end up very nicely in the middle. If it is correct, your meditation as a result becomes much more intense and much more focused than before the pranayama. The first time, however, because of all the things you need to do, it might be a little bit distracting. Practice a couple of times during the weekdays and you will see it will become very calm, very focused, and you'll feel incredibly good when you're done after 30 minutes. And to give you an indication of how long it should take, 2 cycles, approximately 10 minutes. If it takes much longer than 10 minutes, try to slow down your count a little bit. No, try to speed up your count a little bit. If you're finished, most people are finished much faster. They count too fast. So if you finish faster than 10 minutes, you should slow down your count a little bit. Why is this important? If you count slow, you're more engaged. The effect of your action, which is the energy control, is more effective, more intense. If you count fast, it becomes more half-heartedly, literally and figuratively. So take your time. You have 30 minutes. Spend 8 to 12 minutes on both cycles, and the rest of the time concentrate on nada. That means also that you do not repeat the cycle. 1 cycle, 2 cycle, and the rest of the time you concentrate on nada. Yes, Tenzin.
Just to stop myself from falling asleep, is it okay to keep my eyes partially open?
Better not. There are meditation methods where people keep the eyes open, but that is a different kind of meditation, because what we want to achieve is internal focus, which is possible with the eyes open, but becomes more complicated. Because with the eyes open, you activate a sense that distracts from your focus internally. If you're an experienced meditator and you feel that it works better for you with the eyes open, you can try, but I recommend that you do it without opening the eyes.
I was just drifting off a bit during the last one.
Say again?
I was just drifting off a bit during the last one. Falling asleep a bit, but I'll try.
When we become sleepy and drift off during our attempt to meditate, it is an indication of our condition. It usually means that we are tired already, that we had a busy week or a late Saturday night. It can have, but try not to solve it by keeping the eyes open. Try to solve it by sleeping more and being less busy and making adjustments.
Right.
Yeah, in the long term, that's anywhere where we go with all this. Yes, Ali.
When we send the energy out, where the energy goes.
That is not, you should not be distracted by that.
Just like, banks to like universe?
Yeah, if you like. What you're doing is, what is important is what happens internally, which is a decrease or an increase of the energy, eventually leading to more sattva. And where that energy goes, only God knows, or the universe knows. But that if you start thinking of that, it becomes a distraction. You can philosophize about that, but in a practical sense, for the effect of the exercise on our functioning, that is a distraction. The whole world is energy, the whole universe is energy.
And one more thing, like, so in this sketch, so because we said that, like, you know, the Sahasrara chakra is related to the wisdom, right?
Yeah.
So when the Shiva in, so does it mean that like Shiva brings the wisdom and insight?
No. Wisdom and insight will manifest when your condition is sattvic. So the pranayama can indirectly lead to wisdom and insight, but it's not the direct result. If you are very scattered and disharmonious, the crown chakra cannot manifest, will not function properly. With the pranayama, you can correct your condition so that you become more harmonious, allowing the functioning of the crown chakra. So it's indirect effect. But in the end, you look at this in a fragmented way. But in the end, your overall condition will transform. It's not that only when you practice yoga you're sattvic, or it's not only when you practice pranayama that you're more sattvic. In the beginning it works like that, but if you continue to practice on a fairly regular basis, your overall condition becomes more sattvic. While practicing, you boost it. Outside of practice, you maintain it. So it becomes a more permanent condition. And circumstances in life change, work, being busy with things, emotions, like when things happen in life that affect us, they lead to imbalance, that you get off balance. Yeah. And for that, you use your insights, but also your regular practice to each time reset yourself and correct yourself. And with time passing, you become more and more in control of that.
So the Shakti goes in through Surya Bindu all the way up, and then through the Pingala, and it goes down through Ida and goes out to Surya Bindu again. Is that the first cycle?
When you let energy in, do not be concerned with where that energy goes. Just in the first stage, Shakti energy in, you focus on Surya Bindu, which is in the center of Muladhara chakra, so in the bottom, in the groin. If you try to follow the energy where it might go, same as with Ali, it becomes a distraction.
You only focus go in and out.
Yes. Keep it as simple as possible. It will find its way. And depending on your condition, that might be different. So for each individual, that might be different. So just focus on the inflow and the outflow. Shakti in, Shiva out. Second, Shiva in, Shakti out. I deliberately put drawings there. If you lose track, do not give up. If you lose track, then just simply look at the whiteboard for a moment peek at the whiteboard and try to pick up where you lost track. Also with counting, when you lose count, which very often happens in the beginning with many practitioners, when you lose count, do not start all the way from the beginning again, but also do not give up. You always want to complete the cycle. So when you lose count, what do? Try to guess where you lost count. You always at least approximately know where you lost count. So simply pick it up from there and continue. Do not give up. Okay? Okay, 30 minutes.